Thank you. Good morning, good evening, and welcome. This is a meeting of the Pioneer Valley Regional School District School Committee. It's Thursday, June 6th, 2024 at 6:06. This meeting is taking place at the Pioneer Valley Regional School Library and online on BNC TV. We are all in person, so we don't need to do roll call attendance. So I'm going to just open the meeting and start with citizens' comments. We have a couple of students from Bernardston Elementary who would like to talk about their field trip. Adrian and Jackson, would you like to come up to the mic? Thank you for being here. We really appreciate hearing from students.
So pull the mic really close. Pretend you're rock stars.
Closer.
Introduce yourself. Right up close.
Yeah.
My name's Adrian.
And my name's Jackson.
And we will be talking about the Connecticut Science Center. We saw a balcony while we were eating lunch. We looked off the edge because it was very tall, so we took a photo.
It was very high up. There was a harp. Instead of strings, there were lasers. Here are two pictures. When you touched the lasers, it would play. This room also had a lot of other cool stuff about sound and sound waves.
Cockroaches. There was a little crawl space. When you go in, you can see a glass wall with cockroaches in it. This area also taught you about our river valley.
There was a make-believe hospital. Make-believe ambulance. We pretended there was a huge accident and I hit my head and got concussed and had a broken ankle.
The weatherman. Caleb was a weatherman talking about hurricane. He. Adrian and Jackson had a pretend fight in the middle of the weather report.
We were testing out AI technology and cool marble run that was so big it used golf balls. This room was all about puzzles and inventions.
Amazing window. Me and Adrian saw a round window and climbed inside. We saw how high up we were. We had a blast. We also saw a good view of the city of Hartford.
Field trips. Field trips are good for kids because they learn new things and make new fun memories.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we appreciate you guys being brave and coming to talk to us. So it's great information. All right. Are there?
That was excellent. Thanks for putting that together, Anne.
So please state your name and where your association with the community. Yeah.
I'm Julie Severance. I'm instructional assistant at Northfield. I've been in the district for a while, and first I want to say thank you to the school committee for volunteering and doing what you do. It's a hard job and it's much appreciated. I know that you recently negotiated a great new contract with the teachers. It's time to do the same with your support personnel. Our contract is getting ready to expire at, I guess, the end of June. And I want you to think, where would any school be without your secretary? Where would any school be without your custodians? Where would any school be without your kitchen staff? Where would any school be without your instructional assistants? Those are the people that you are supporting when you do a contract for us. So please value your support employees and their experience. You have a lot of experience in this district. By recognizing all we do to support the children and the teachers. Please settle a great new contract for us also. It's our turn.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other citizens' comments? Okay. Seeing none, we will move on to the approval of minutes from May 23rd.
I don't think so.
That was when we talked about those first. Yeah, okay.
No. Mhm.
So I'll check that.
Okay.
And I didn't have John.
I don't even know.
She refuses to change her
Well,
name.
we had a long streak on Sylvia's spelling being correct, so.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's like I have a mental block now.
They managed to get Sylvia's correct. That's good.
Doing well on that.
Maybe I reversed the autocorrect. And I had a question about Hemlock. Is that the proper spelling?
Harnish?
H-A-R-N-I-S. C-H. Thank you. S-C-H. Oh, S-C-H, okay. In two places. Yep. Okay, that was those were my questions or comments.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second.
Great. And if there are no other corrections, all in favor? Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Abstained, okay. So that passes with one abstention. Great. So moving on to our reports. Oh, right, we were going to move our, if there's no objection, I'd like to move the audit presentation up to before the reports so that we can make use of Tom's time in a very in a more timely way. So come on up to the mic. So this is our FY23 audit presentation. Thank you, Tom, for being here. Tom Scanlon from Scanlon Associates. Yep.
I don't think my presentation is going to be as good as that field trip.
And yeah, the report, just as a reminder, if you was in our electronic packet, but we don't have a hard copy here because it was a lot of paper. If you'd like a paper copy, please let Taffy know. She'll make a copy of you for you.
Yeah, so for those who don't know me, I'm Tom Scanlon, managing partner at Scanlon Associates. My firm specializes in municipal audits. I have about 75 cities and towns and school districts across the Commonwealth. I plan on being kind of short and sweet tonight. The audit for fiscal year 23 went very, very well. We gave no material adjustments. We had no disagreements with management. There was no deficit accounts. There's, financial statements. I think I was here in the fall time talked about 22. Is that they're kind of boring, which is good when you want on a school district as you look. You have sound controls over your significant accounts, which is balancing your cash, revenue, and expenditure controls. So one of the risks as far as the auditors goes, as we're opining on financial statements, if a revenue comes in, it has to go into the right bucket. So obviously, when you get your E&D certified, that's part of your general fund, and that's just your general receipts. Well, we don't want to see any grants go into the general fund, and vice versa. Like your Chapter 78, we don't want to see that put into a special revenue fund. So as we look at your financial statements, that's the risk we're assessing on your finance, and we're designing our audit procedures. And you have very sound, adequate controls over those categories, which is great. And I know you should have 2 reports. You should have the financial statements, which we gave a clean opinion on, which If you're out in the bond market or your grant award agencies, they're looking at that, which is the best opinion you can get. And also the single audit, which is a compliance report on your federal funds, which we had no findings there as well. We did not do a managed report for the fiscal year 23. One of the reasons we felt the 22 managed report, everything that was in there was addressed. And by the time we finished the 22, 23 was closed and we met with you. So that's the reason why we didn't do a management letter. There was no areas that we felt the need to communicate to you. I know going forward, our goal is to start the 24 audit come late August, early fall. So we're getting you back on track to where you were. And I should be meeting with you sometime January. That seems kind of far away, but it's going to be here before you know it, unfortunately. It'll be snowing before you know it, too.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, correct. But I don't know if anyone had any questions about anything, what we do, how it was. I think your financial team, can't say enough good things. Really have confidence in you sitting on the board. I always say if I was sitting where you guys are sitting, because I want that kind of confidence. The reports that you're getting are accurate, and that's what you want. And your E&D being certified is accurate, and you have no deficits on your accounts. And your procedures where you're viewing your financial statements. I'm very pleasantly satisfied with your financial capacity, and I think that's one of the things I wanted to communicate to you. I don't know again, if you have any questions throughout the year, something pops up budget-wise, you have questions, or I know there was as we went through COVID, there was a lot of grants that were in the system between ESSER, and there was a lot of compliance requirements, and there was a lot of pressures and compliance requirements, administrative burden of the financial reporting that's run through your ledgers. And I felt you accounted for that very soundly. So, again, I was being short and sweet. I kind of like these meetings. Usually, I hate the long ones where there's problems. So it's very satisfying to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my one big question was, I know in the past, other reports we've seen like suggestions for changes, but you addressed that when you said that most of the things that came up in the FY22 had already been addressed.
Yeah, because we're so late on the 22 time we got engaged. We're so far into 23. I mean, I think we're almost to the close of 23 when finished. So
Right.
That 22 encompassed like 20 because we did a lot of field work up through 23. I believe I was here in the fall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of hit two
Yeah.
birds with one stone. So that's the sole reason why I just felt it wasn't, everything was addressed. And then once we get 24, you probably see a management letter again.
Great.
So-
Great. Yeah, I appreciate this coming to us in a more timely fashion, and glad to see we're getting on
I
track.
think the goal is to get you,
with all that.
back on time. We'll do field work August, September. Your federal fiscal year, which is federal grants, will close September 30. Then you have a 30-day reporting. So November 1st is the reporting window. So we usually don't finish up our federal field work until like after that date because the reports aren't filed. But we'll have the core field work, and then from November to January, we'll work on your financial reports. So you should have them. My guess would be January if everything goes smoothly. The only kind of hiccup is OPEB. Make sure you get that updated. And I think we're good. Again, any question that happens for the year, don't hesitate to reach out.
Great, thanks. And
Thank you.
thank you very much.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Did I do a good job with the mic? I held it close.
Yeah, perfect.
I paid attention.
Great.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Hopefully it's selfish.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I don't know about that. But very nice town, but Luke is my guy.
All right. So on to our Director of Finance. Jordan, would you like to give us your report?
Yep, so glad we had a clean audit, so that's good. And so this year's, as we are pretty close to the end of the year, everything's looking good. I have some budget transfers. You know, there are some negative balances that we talked about in previous meetings, and so we can address those. There's some really small balances, less than $500 that I haven't addressed, and there's some where there's really big encumbrances where I'm not certain that those purchase orders will be completely expended. So I don't want to make transfers when it may not actually be necessary ultimately, depending on how invoices come in. I wanted to provide a comparator because, a lot of times, the expenditure report shows $641,723, and, out of context, that, isn't as helpful. So, last year at the same time, we had a non-expended budget balance of $654,000. So I just wanted to provide that as additional context to show that, we are in pretty good shape, essentially where we were last year. At the end of the year, I anticipate having around $250,000, below our expenditure budget, or 1.67%, which is, nice in the sense that, there's a little bit of room there, but also it's not so much that, the budgeting was terrible. So, because, if you have 5% extra, obviously you could have used that for more productive uses. When you're less than 2%, that's pretty tight, but that's where we want to be, and I think aspire to be. The revenues, we're significantly through the year, obviously almost 92% of the year, and not all the revenues come in, but that's all revenue that we're ultimately going to realize because it's stuff like Chapter 78 and assessments. So I anticipate that actually on the revenue side we'll have a very small surplus, but a surplus nonetheless. So ultimately our budget will be more than in balance, which is good. Like I said, some transfers. I guess maybe I'll get to those last because I know, let's see what order. Oh, well, okay. So I'll go to those first. That's the order. I want to keep that. So, right, there's some budget transfers, some to address negative balances, and then just some to also, transfer into the active health and life insurance line so that we, have less reliance on school choice. Our school choice revenue this year is down a little bit, which is fine. So that's why I want to rely on school choice a little bit less. And so overall, we'll essentially, our reliance on school choice to pay health insurance will be pretty much what we've brought in for revenue. So that'll be in balance and we won't be depleting that. So that's part of the motivation for some of the transfers. The other ones are just to take care of negative balances. Any questions?
So I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfers as noted in the amount of $63,518.27.
Second.
Great. Any further questions or discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, that passes unanimously.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you. And the lunch report, I had to call Cheryl up when I got the lunch report. So I was like, what are you doing down there? You
Different.
selling frappuccinos or something to make all this money? But we looked at the numbers together for 15 or 20 minutes, and ultimately it came down to a lot of the hard work to get participation up through this year, and then having May where there's 22 school days. It's one of those months where there's a ton of days, and having more days and more service, obviously there's a little bit more in food expenditures, but the big thing is there's not a lot more in salaries. So ultimately profits were up. So there was an operating profit of over $18,000 in May, which is great to provide a little more cushion at the end of the year, because obviously June doesn't have as many operating days, but including the encumbered salaries for the summer, right now there's a overall operating profit for the fiscal year of $22,968.74. So we certainly don't need to have a huge profit for food service, but we know we don't want a deficit, so we're in good shape. And it looks like we'll close out the year with a small profit, and that's really good.
And that profit remains in the revolving fund?
Yep.
Okay.
Right, so, and that can only be expended for the allowable uses related to food service. So, we can't we can't, for example, pay other salaries to provide a good example. You couldn't pay a teacher's salary out of the food service revolving fund. So,
Unless, of course, they were preparing food.
yes, of course, if they wanted to moonlight
joking.
preparing some food, that would be cool as well.
All right. Great. Okay. Thank you. So the chair's report, I just wanted to just mention that I had the opportunity to catch the end of the concert on May 23rd, after our May 23rd meeting, and it was great to see all of the performers up on the stage and to hear the variety of music that they were playing, and playing very well. And I just wanted to just acknowledge all the hard work and the practice that obviously went into that performance. And a thank you to the teachers and faculty and staff who teach them, and the families who support and encourage them. So, and also just to note that graduation at the high school is tomorrow night. So a big shout out to the families and the graduates for this it's a huge milestone. So, and our elementary graduations are next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, BES on Wednesday and NES on Tuesday, and NES on Wednesday. That's also an important step. It's a great milestone. So,
And tomorrow is inside because of the weather. Yeah. Okay.
all right. And thank you to the members who have already completed your evaluations of the superintendent, so appreciate that. And if you haven't already done it, so get it in. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you. Also on graduation, requesting that school committee members kindly let Taffy know if you'll be attending, so that the juniors who set up the room make sure they have enough seats allocated for school committee. What a busy time at 6:30 tonight, so just in a couple minutes, senior awards are taking place across the way in the auditorium. Maybe we'll get out early enough to scoot in for a little bit of the end of that. The field trips, you saw that terrific presentation by our grade 5 students. I saw a proud grandmother to my right over there.
Proud two grandmothers.
Yes, 2 grandmothers. My goodness, left and right.
Oh, God.
Isn't that great? Thank you for
great.
that suggestion.
Yes, thank you, Ann.
They did great.
Yeah,
Great.
they did great.
Yeah, maybe we can do more of that, having students kind of
Yeah.
get
I love
on
it.
it. Grade 6 just went to Boston. Grade 2 just went, I think, to Norwich, Vermont.
Mm.
3rd grade went. There you go. So fantastic trips, and there are a lot of, the BES folks are doing all kinds of walking trips last week, this week. There you go. These are beautiful. Thank you to our PTOs who support many of these field trips.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
that's great.
I was a chaperone. Very messy field trip.
Yeah.
I came well prepared with white.
Sounds like it.
Joy-filled, I'm sure.
And I would like to thank my administrative colleagues who, the central office and the building principals who are helping out with the hiring searches that we're doing right now. There are a number of open positions, and people are being incredibly generous with their time. Thank you to our teachers who are participating. There is some great hiring taking place, and I can't wait to share a personnel update with you on June 20th. That's it.
Great. All right. So moving on to our business student advisory committee update. Michelle, can you?
Well,
give
I
us
have,
a
yes,
little-
and I have it on really great paper, as you can see. 'Cause
That's
I
okay.
didn't bring.
Big business deals.
Yes, I know. It was a small group, but a lot got said and shared, and I really enjoy talking to the students. One of the things that I'd just like to digress for a minute, because I wasn't here and I've been trying to figure out the PowerPoint presentation when you went to Vermont on student voices, I'm very interested in learning more about that.
So I could sit with you if you'd like to go through that
Yeah,
presentation.
I would like to,
I'll
because that's what we talked about. And we talked about how the school committee could hear more from the students' perspective in doing policies, for example, because we, know about the, as we're going to be talking about the cell phone. But there may be further policies that really require student input. So one of the things that both Lex and Rain suggested is job descriptions for student reps versus the Student Advisory Council. And they said if there were job descriptions, people would be able to read what their role is and their responsibility. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is wonderful. You know, they're so knowledgeable. They also asked, they wanted to get the responsibilities out to all the students. And wasn't today the voting for it?
They voted about a week and a half ago. They have 5 students for the Student Advisory Committee. I was waiting for the names of the 2 representatives to school committee. But the vote already took place.
Oh, it already, I thought it was like today or yesterday. Anyways, they also would like a student advisory email for sharing of Google Docs when there's such things as agenda planning for this meeting. And we talked about having an agenda for the student advisory meetings with the school committee. I mean, I think that's something that we both can share. So Matt, I believe, was going to look into getting them an email or
So the student reps to school committee, I did suggest that, and it was made. So the student reps to school committee have an email. If you'd like a student advisory committee email, we could make a second one that all 5 students on the committee have.
Yes, I think that's what their suggestion was. Yeah, I knew they had emails, but it was a student I did write student advisory email, but I didn't explain it well. And then they were very concerned about the librarian position. They were going by some changes that are going to be made. They said the job description is going to change and it's going to be mirrored like Northfield and Bernardston. And we discussed that a little bit, and Matt said it was going to be more of a teaching role, which I hadn't heard at the time, so I couldn't really answer that for them. And then they talked about the librarian was going to be cut to 2 to 3 days per week, and they wanted some answers. And I, as a school committee member, just said we'd have to get back to them, because I hadn't heard that. So different things come out at these meetings that I think are good. And, you know, whether it is rumor or fact, I think we have to be ready to answer some of these difficult questions for the students.
And I would ask, so we're learning. This is great that this is happening, and there may be information at those meetings that we don't want to bring out into public because it's not true, and it could cause consternation. So I'm thinking as we move forward, maybe there needs to be some intermediate step before something is shared in public so that we have a chance to vet that information, because I would hate for private confidential personnel information to be put out inaccurately in public.
Then I would suggest that we have guidelines, because if you read MASC, school committee meeting with Student Advisory Council, there is nothing about confidentiality or anything like that. So I wasn't aware of this, but having an agenda for these meetings might help that in the future, so that we're staying on topic, because right now, you know, it's just, it's like they're not sure what their role is, I feel. So maybe with 5 people, they can talk amongst themselves about it.
And I think in MASC, their website has a lot of guidance, has a handbook and lots of information on.
Yeah, I've been reading
on
that.
a student advisory council, so we can
Yeah.
share that with them and
And they've been
Um,
given the student, so the school committee could work with the students to read the guide to being a student representative to school committee that the students have already received.
Yeah, we did talk about that. And talk about the book.
That connection makes me super excited to have a really good pulse on the conversations happening, and then have the student ambassadors or reps, sort of just help with that and aid with that, but just to get a closer finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's important.
Great. All right, thank you. All right, so moving on to the school committee calendar. It's our calendar of meetings, and then which is driven partly by the the draft annual tasks and votes. If anyone has any feedback on the dates or any
So
discrepancies.
I was just,
Yeah.
when I was looking at it, I'm just curious at people's summer availability with these dates, if there's any, I'm worried about a quorum potentially, and people's vacations. We submitted them, we submitted them to Taffy, but I just wanted to make sure that those of us who are here, that those July and August dates work.
Yep.
I don't know yet, but if I'm away on a short thing, there's always virtual.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'm out on the 18th. So,
Okay, so the July 18th.
so if people start,
Mhm.
if other people reply that aren't here, just so you know.
Okay. Mhm.
So, does it help? So right now for the 18th, it's only Sylvia, but I'll add.
Oh, okay, and Melissa, okay.
Where's May 30?
I mean, I've already shared this with you previous to the meeting, but I think in the school committee draft of annual tasks, even though we're having a retreat to talk about our goals, we should have a public meeting to adopt the goals, whether it's August or September.
The last Mondays. Hi.
So we can have that.
I know we've had this discussion before, but what is official Memorial Day? Is it the last Monday? If so, somebody left the 31st off the May calendar. That would be it.
No, it would be a Saturday.
No, the
Oh, it's-
31st.
Of May would be a Saturday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no, the Saturdays.
Oh, okay.
Sundays are
Gotcha.
not on the calendar.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good.
So what is the other,
Important.
so August 2nd?
August 8th
August 8th.
and August 22nd.
So no, I'm just reading from the calendar that Taffy has been putting your information into. On July, wait a minute, July 18th, Sylvia and now Melissa are listed as being on vacation. On August 8th, which is a school committee meeting, there's no one currently listed on vacation. And then, what's the other?
August
The
22nd.
22nd.
There is no one listed as being on vacation.
Okay. Okay, all right. So we'll,
I'd
okay.
like to make a motion to accept the 24-25 school committee calendar.
Second.
Great. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, that passes unanimously.
Great.
Thank you.
Congrats.
And again, the annual tasks, votes, and events document is, it's an evolving document, so if you have come up with other changes or suggestions, we'll add the vote on the school committee goals to either, probably one of the August meetings. So got a lot of work to do in August to get ready for for the school year. So great. All right. So moving on to our next topic is the cell phone policy. You all had a copy of the presentation and a draft of the language that's been shared both with school committee in the packets and also in the district update for the public. We've had some comments from parents and community members with expressing their concerns about their individual students. And I do want to say, no policy is ever going to be perfect. It's never going to meet everyone's needs. And that is why we are open to, students who have particular learning needs or health needs. Accommodations are made for those students that they have something that's different than most of their peers, and because it meets their individual needs at the time. And so there is room for that within any policy, and that's no different for this policy. So I just wanted to make note of that and acknowledge that there are going to be different individual cases that might need a different approach, and that's true for any condition, any
Good.
situation. So that's something that would have a conversation with the individuals involved.
Great. Thank you.
I just have a question about coaches texting students. Did you discuss this? I mean, I've heard it from a few parents that there was, last minute texting of students for changes in practices or delays or cancellation. And so I was just wondering.
Yeah. So a couple things with that. There is something to be discussed about coaches having personal cell phones of students and students having coaches' personal cell phones. And I can also say that announcements are made over the intercom whenever there is a change that students need to know about. And so when there is a rain delay because the storm's coming for baseball, there's announcements that are made, and that's clearly communicated through the school to the students in the appropriate measure. But
Can I ask something else?
yes.
Great question. This ties to our recent decision to purchase a software called Parent Square. It's used by many local districts across the state. Chris Fontaine, Director of Technology, has surveyed his colleagues, and it is by far the most popular and supported communication tool. Our coaches will have access to Parent Square, so there will be zero reason or tolerance, frankly, because it is against policy to have adults contacting children on their cell phones. Frontier is, there are some places like Frontier where their coaches use a software called Remind. Remind has been bought by Parent Square. So we will be part of the group that is organized with our communications and can get info back and forth more easily.
Excellent. And I don't want to take up everyone's time,
No,
but
go.
I have one more
Yeah,
question about, I'm very glad to see that the superintendent's going to create guidelines for other times, including bus. That was a big thing from parents. But I've also been asked, what about lunchtime?
Yeah, so how this policy reads is that students are not to have access to personal electronic devices during the day. So the school day would encompass lunchtime,
Okay.
passing periods. They would not have access to their cell phone.
Okay. Except for certain.
Yeah, except
Um,
for, yeah, like
Yeah,
there's
be-
going to be medical
Yeah.
exceptions.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, like a student with type 1 diabetes that
correct. Yeah.
need, there's an app on their phone that manages their insulin dosing, and so they would have access
would
to their
have
phone
that.
for that
Yep.
purpose.
Yep.
All right.
And yeah, so during our research and I talked to a local school nurse who has their school has a no cell phone policy during the day, and she said when they implemented that, the phone use in her office actually got a lot busier because students had a way to contact their parents, right? So if a student, forgot their gym shoes or whatever, they didn't have access to text their parent, but they were able to go to the nurse and call their parent and let them know, or go to the main office. And so there is going to be a culture change and shift that students and staff and everybody will go through, but there's avenues for students to be able to access their parents when needed. And all of that is going to be communicated through, as we, roll this out.
Yep.
Yeah, if it's voted, voted and approved.
Kathy Laraway and I talk once a week about my daughter. It's a good time. It's a great conversation. I just want to say a couple of things. I wholeheartedly intend to vote in favor of a policy. My one concern is that publicly 2 weeks ago, recently, is the first time this has come up in our meeting as a firm option. And I would like to offer an extension for parents to read, reflect, react. I know if I was not on the school committee meeting, I probably wouldn't have. I read your emails, I'm sorry. But it's just, there's so much going on that someone might have heard about it tonight listening to us. I was a parent to a student at Greenfield when the policy came out. He was a junior. I flipped. I'm going to wholeheartedly say I was the parent who's like, no way. My child has no issues, no nothing, but I was the knee-jerk reaction to say, there's no way you're doing this. And it was a big pile of nothing. But I don't want parents to feel like they didn't know it was coming, they were blindsided, they don't understand where the research came from. So I would like to recommend that we don't vote on it tonight, and we offer time for, again, reflection, reaction, and response appropriately.
I guess I would only add that if that's what we decide, I want to sort of state publicly, anyone who has anything to say about this, please reach out. We want to hear.
So my question would be, what is the implication in the planning if we do delay? Because one of the reasons why we got this done in a timely manner and to vote tonight was that it could roll out for next year with the planning before school ended. So June 20th is after school ends. And so my concern is that if we do postpone the vote, that this policy would be decided after school is already out, where there wouldn't be any way to have any type of, or any rollout potentially or discussion during the, last few days of school. I'm just
What is the time frame you're suggesting?
curious.
Just two weeks seems quick. I actually don't have a time frame in mind. But I just want to make sure that it doesn't feel like we're doing this and we did it.
Yeah.
And again, if I didn't know all of the things that someone might have heard yesterday that we're voting today, and just not all of the research is there. My kids react differently when they've had too much screen time. It's there, and I just want to make sure that parents understand how we got to this decision.
Of course. I just wanted to sort of add to my previous comment in that we want to hear because we want the ability to address the concerns, because I think that a lot of amazing work has been done planning for the what ifs and how we will address those. So I want people to feel more comfortable and more engaged in this really necessary decision.
Well, we had town meeting and voting this week, so I got a lot of, but I understand what Jennifer is saying too. I mean, I wouldn't have seen a lot of people probably this week if Leiden didn't have, an annual town meeting and an election, so.
Probably a silly question. So after the school year ends, it is presumably too late to roll something out. Is that because? What's the?
No, I don't think it's necessarily presumable that it's too late. I think that before everyone disperses for the summer,
they're going to want to know going in.
They're going to want to know going in,
Fair.
right?
Fair. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when school ends on the 14th, so does the staff. And so if they're not following along with what's going on with the school committee in a vote on the 20th and after, there could be a lot of unknowing. I mean, emails can go out and such, but if we were able to vote on it tonight, then the information can go out to everyone before they are not on summer break. That's my only concern on, but yeah.
Yeah, my only concern would be unless we had a special meeting, there could be the potential that, stuff often takes longer than 3 or 4 weeks to get. So it could be that, we didn't receive the pouches until late August, and then, implementation goes off poorly. That would be a concern I would have, is that they either wouldn't be here or they would get here so late that, we weren't confidently able to administer it. Whereas if there was a vote in the affirmative this evening, it would provide sufficient lead time to ensure that we have everything in, technology, everybody else trained up in actually administering it. So my concern would just be, I know it's not pandemic times, but there still is sometimes lead time, and I'm sure we're not the only district in the country thinking about doing this.
Yeah. A couple of thoughts. I appreciate we want all our families to understand what's happening. And it's okay. I know some people don't read the district update. It has had over 1,000 viewers the past 2 editions.
Wow.
The one that went out, yesterday or the day before, and the one before that. So somebody is reading it.
Or at least clicking on
there
it.
was the article, and there was the article. Wait, what'd she say?
At least clicking on
Or
it.
just clicking on it.
No, because the average number of minutes is good. I have an average number of minutes people stay on the site. There was an article in the Recorder about this last week. We did get some comments in response to the first district update. There were a few comments, not that many, which I think is actually really good. I am a little concerned that if you don't vote, and it's fine, whatever you do is fine, but if you don't vote tonight, I would hate for someone to say, y'all waited for school to be out to take that vote. I don't think that's a great look. I, as administrator, would strongly prefer to be able to say to families before they leave, this is what's happening. It's going to happen. We're going to go buy the pouches, and we're going to do a great job letting you know over the summer what this will look like. We'll make it work, whatever, though, a couple of thoughts.
I am grateful. I do read them. I didn't mean that. I see them. I'm more on I'm on the 4-minute though. No, but
quick scan.
Honestly though, if it goes out to district parents and guardians, and 1,000 viewers is the opportunity to learn about what's going on. So thank you.
Right.
I appreciate
Appreciate that.
statistics.
And I will say that none of the feedback that we had mentioned not feeling like they weren't heard. And I also checked on Nextdoor, which is a social media platform where the district update is posted, and a lot of discussion happens on school committee topics. And there wasn't any chatter. There was one comment that was in support of the policy, but there was no chatter that I saw next door. There wasn't, so just to throw that out there also. So I will make a motion to approve the new cell phone policy as presented.
I'll second.
Great, thank you. In terms of discussion, I just want to add that I think that there was, just to clarify, that the district's plan is to implement the Yonder pouches. And so parents can look into that, families, guardians can look into what that looks like. The pouches it's a pouch that they, well, I'll let you explain.
It's a neoprene type pouch. It has a magnet, so what happens is every child gets their own pouch. The phone stays in the student's possession all day. The district does not take possession. That was a concern shared. We have no interest in taking possession of several hundred phones per day in each building. Student comes into school, we'll have folks at each entrance. They just show as they come in, here's my phone, I'm putting it in, I close it, it's magnetized shut. When they leave school, we put out a special magnet. Children just walk by, it's open, they have their phone, they put their pouch in their backpack, and they go on their merry way. It's not a panacea, right? There will be kids who buy rare earth magnets on Amazon to try and, there will be kids who have burner phones and they're, you know what, and that's okay, we're gonna figure it out. Our understanding is, and we did do a lot of research, and we've talked to our law enforcement partners who've worked in districts. We've talked to administrators in districts that use these. Implementation matters, and we are good. When we plan a project at this point, we know how to do it, we roll it out, we'll make it happen. And we're going to try.
Yep.
And we'll monitor carefully and see how students respond. And we're going to do some work on ourselves as adults too. I was sharing before this meeting. I have recently started forcing myself to leave my laptop downstairs at night. I am not bringing my laptop upstairs anymore. I am not watching TV in bed. I am not reading the newspaper. I am not working. I see you shaking your head over
I
there.
never do.
I did. And I got out of the habit of reading books, and I have read 2.5 young adult novels in the past week and a half. And I've read a couple dog training little books. And I'm trying, because this conversation has prompted me to examine my own addiction to some screens. So, we'll all support each other in figuring out how, as adults, we do a better job with role modeling.
Nice.
Agree.
Thank you.
Amazing.
And we'll all be better for it. So,
No doubt.
great. All right, any further discussion? All right.
I would just say that the inclusion of sort of answers to major concerns along with the policy was just a brilliant idea. And I think it may have satisfied a lot of people. So thank you.
And we are not there yet, I'm sure, but as mentioned, there will be exceptions. There's going to be a process to submit an exception, things of that nature.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yep.
Yeah. And typically, it's a 504 accommodation plan.
Wonderful.
When there's a specific diagnosis involved.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's fine. So, great. All right. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor? All right. Great. Thank you. That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on, we are not in need of an executive session tonight, I've been told.
That's correct.
So we can omit that agenda item. Our enrollment update.
There was no change in enrollment this month.
And other business, so we will be getting an update on personnel at our next meeting. There's just a lot happening, and so it wouldn't be as meaningful of an update. Any other? I don't have any other business. Any other yeah. Yes.
We
Questions?
have our next school committee meeting before our retreat, right?
Yes. The next school committee full school committee meeting is June 20th and the 25th.
This is the dates, collective bargaining is, there's that extra meeting that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, no, the 12th is
The 12th
a real
is-
meeting, as
it's a
is the
real meeting.
18th. The 12th is about your evaluation.
Oh, duh,
Yeah,
that's
it's the
what it was.
evaluation, yeah.
Sorry. That's why.
Can't take that one off.
Yeah.
It's got to be there.
No, that's not.
Sorry.
And the 25th is our
Do we have
retreat.
a site yet?
We'll be meeting here.
Here.
Yeah. We'll try to get more. We'll gather some more comfortable chairs. Maybe we'll sit on the couches or something.
Got you good.
We'll do some movement breaks too.
So do we have a record?
I know, close out. Let's do
I
this.
don't know. Yeah. So yeah.
I'll make
I guess,
a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, you guys.
6:59, started at 6:06.